Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Des Reacts back with another video, man. Today's a special day. It is the 4th of July, where we got our independence from the UK, right? The British, all that good stuff. Shout out to all my Americans that watch the channel. It's always a good day. It's always a vibe, you know. It's summertime. My birthday's in 2 days. My birthday's on July 6th, and you know, I'm just looking forward to it. Hope you guys are having a great summer so far, and you know, hope everybody been blessed for real. This one's gonna be good. This one's called Caught on Camera, Police in Danger, UK crime documentary. I feel like it's gonna be pretty crazy. You know, as I said in the video before, I'm in the process of trying to become a police officer out here. So some of this stuff, you know, American cops deal with as well. You know, cops all over the world, you know, deal with probably a bunch of nonsense, but let's see what we get into. Let's get it.
But what happens when the police come under attack? Every year, there are around 30,000 assaults on British cops.
This is gonna be good.
That's one every 18 minutes. As deadly weapon.
One in every 18 minutes, there's an assault on a police officer in the UK. Wow. I don't know what it is for America, but that's a lot.
Such as guns and knives become more common. Police officers are in the line of fire.
Put your knife down. Put the knife down.
And more incidents are being caught on camera.
If you make any threats, I will tase you. Turn around. Turn around.
Tonight, the officers putting themselves in harm's way.
Oh my God.
I knew that there was a lot of blood coming out of my hand. Felt like my hand had been cut off.
When I first saw that gun, I just thought I was going to die, that was it.
Plus, cops with years of experience reveal how police protect themselves using body cams,
Get on the floor!
tasers, and when all else fails, the emergency button on their radio to call in what's known as a code 0.
It can be like a movie scene when you press your emergency button and you see blue lights coming from every direction out of nowhere to help you.
And I'm assuming the emergency button, I'm not gonna say guaranteed, but let me know in the comments if you guys know if they push the emergency button, do armed cops come as well? Because I can only imagine bringing a taser to a gunfight, right? Like if your taser fails and the dude wants to, you know, boom you, I mean, that's scary, man.
In Britain, around 145,000 police officers are charged with keeping our streets safe.
Okay, he's on the floor now. No problems. Put down the knife.
When the public are in danger, they often put themselves in the way.
Put it down! Put down the knife! Put it down!
When they make an arrest, they sometimes risk coming under attack. In North Wales, 2 drug dealers are seen here launching a violent attack on an officer. Footage from the dash cam in his police car shows him wrestle one of them to the ground before calling for backup.
Wow.
Officers' radios are equipped with an emergency button.
Oh Lord,
It overrides the police radio system so that nearby colleagues can hear the officer shout code 0 or that they need urgent assistance.
That's crazy, man. So like in the US, you know, I feel like 100% there'd at least be 1 or 2 officers with their lethal weapons pointed at him, 100%. And it looks like those dudes are innocent civilians that he's like, you know, trying to stab and raising his knife to. So there's a high possibility that he'd probably get shot, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, you know, but like that's crazy, you know. Obviously in the perfect world, tase him or talk him down, have him drop it. But when the publics are in danger, I mean, you have to kind of account for that, because if he was to raise that knife and stab the person and killed them, you could have helped save that person. You know what I mean?
Backup then rushes to the scene.
It can be like a movie scene when you press your emergency button.
Oh,
you see
yeah, he
blue
got
lights
his
coming
lethals
from
out.
every direction,
Ooh.
out of nowhere to help you.
Yeah, his big gun out.
Nicola Thorne spent 10 years working in the Metropolitan Police.
If you're having dinner, if you're having a coffee break, you hear that emergency button, everything you're doing gets dropped and you leg it to wherever you need to be.
It's estimated a code 0 is activated once every 6 minutes by police and the other emergency services.
So do you guys hear sirens all the time then? I'm assuming, especially probably in the more populated areas, like, you know, in London and stuff. I mean, I'd imagine if it's 1 in every 6 minutes, a code 0 happens. Dang.
Gateshead, Constables Michael Otterson and Sarah Curry used their emergency button to call for backup when a man pointed a gun at them. They'd received a report he'd gone to a local pub, intending
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing red, white, and blue, by the way, because it's Independence Day.
to attack some drug dealers he'd fallen out with.
We got a call, asked us to head down to the area. I had absolutely no idea that it would end up the way it did.
We were given the command via the radio to just do a quick stop search of him. He was stood in the doorway looking at us with one hand behind his back. I asked him to take his hand out, and unfortunately he produced a handgun.
Oh.
When I first saw that gun, I just thought I was going to die, that was it. A sinking feeling like, oh, God, this is the moment I die.
But despite the danger, they reacted quickly.
We ran him into the back wall of the doorway of the pub, at which point he fired the gun above his head into the ceiling. And I kept a hold of his arm, just thinking the whole time, if I let go of this arm, he's going to shoot me.
100%. Man, that's tough. That's tough, because I mean, from what I heard, you know, from what I know, it's super rare to see a gun in the UK, like a pistol, like on a civilian, right? So I'm assuming these two cops, they're probably ill-equipped for this situation, and it looks like, man, they handled it great.
We were struggling. I knew we needed help. There was no way we could have kept that fight for much longer.
Fearing for their lives, PC Otterson hit the emergency button on his radio to activate a code 0. As nearby officers responded by rushing to the scene, a member of the public stepped in to help. The first police officer to respond was Sergeant Elliot Richardson, who was already patrolling the back of the pub in case the suspect tried to escape.
And he's drunk.
I ran to where they were, and that's when I could see the gun in his hand. I could see Michael have hold of it, and I could see them struggling with him against the wall. You've got to control that firearm before anything else happens, and you do that whichever way you can.
The gun dropped to the floor, but the suspect was still resisting arrest. Sergeant Richardson needed to detain him.
You're fighting for your life, there's no rules. He's getting hit, and he's getting hit hard. It was having little to no effect on him, and that's when I had to get the baton and literally just push it into his throat and just hold him against the wall.
Man, what a badass.
Time to get him just pulled down to the ground and just get on top of him. It was just get those handcuffs on him whichever way you can. Get him his hands secured, because we still don't know what he was carrying.
Once the suspect was safely in handcuffs, the team searched him for weapons. What they found was horrifying.
He had a crossbow, he had 2 handguns, he had a couple of nail bombs, he had 2 petrol bombs in his carrier bag.
The suspect was arrested, but was unfit to stand trial due to his mental health.
That's some bull snaps, bro. That's some bull junk. Like, bro, you have all that, but you're unfit to go to trial. That doesn't even make sense. You know what you're doing. You know you're breaking the law, unless those guns are BB guns. Because I saw there was BBs. I don't know if they're a real gun or not, but regardless, the people he pointed it at, the police officers, they don't know it's a fake gun until it's all said and done with. You know what I mean? But they did say he fired a shot into the air, so at least one of them were real. Then let me find out y'all walk around with crossbows over there in the UK, bro. That's crazy.
And was given an indefinite hospital order.
If we hadn't turned up that day, undoubtedly there would have been at least one, if not more, murders in Gateshead that day.
Knives and guns have become a more common sight on our streets. Every year, more than 1 in 3 police officers are assaulted with a weapon.
Yeah, he went from bad man to little scared man when she pointed that taser at him. It's crazy. Look, he was probably acting all tough on the street, pointing it at people, like his knives and stuff, posturing, and as soon as she whipped out her taser, boy, brought him to his knees.
Knives and guns have become a more common sight on our streets. Every year, more than 1 in 3 police officers are assaulted with a weapon. This footage shows Northamptonshire police responding to reports of an armed man in a flat.
The male is armed with a hatchet and what appears to be a handgun of some kind. Let's just back off, mate.
Believing he was prepared to use his weapons, officers had to withdraw and call for emergency backup.
Yeah, you need the armed, you probably need armed officers.
The weapon at me.
The man followed them outside and pointed his gun.
What are you arguing up there for? Put you in the police.
He would have got shot in America. Like, you don't point a gun at people. I mean, you hate me or love me or whatever, but if someone's pointing a gun at you, you got to assume that they're going to use it on you or whoever is around you. Like, you got to take that super serious. And obviously, he probably doesn't have a gun, the cop, right? That's why he called for, he probably called for backup regardless, but that's probably why the dude didn't get shot at this moment.
When backup arrived, the suspect was arrested. But officers aren't always able to back away to a safe distance.
Keep nice and calm for me. Keep nice and calm.
In Gwent, police were called to reports of a man armed with 2 large kitchen knives.
Okay, I want you to put the knives down for me.
He refused to hand himself in, so officers had only one option to disarm him.
Don't put us down with knife, I can't get a shot.
A 1200-volt taser.
No. Taser! Get down! Get down!
Incredibly, he was still able to lash out at the policeman trying to arrest him. The man was later sentenced to 4 years in prison for attempting to cause grievous bodily harm.
Only 4 years in prison, bro? You only got 4 years in prison for trying to kill a peace officer, right? Man, that criminal justice system over there, boy.
The officer escaped without being badly hurt. Tasers were first used in Britain in 2003, and since then have been rolled out across the country. They work by firing 2 electronic barbs into the suspect before delivering their charge, which completely incapacitates them for a few vital seconds.
So now they got some new ones, though. They have like 6 rounds in it. So like if you shoot and miss, you can keep shooting it. It's pretty cool.
Leroy Logan has 30 years experience of inner city policing and is used to dealing with violent offenders.
Look at this brother.
Fire tasers.
Leroy.
The largest part of the body, which is the torso. There's a lot of nerve endings there, so you'll get the maximum impact.
Put it down!
Across England and Wales, tasers are aimed at suspects around 40 times a day. But they're not always fired. Chris Hobbs has over 30 years' experience as a senior officer in the Metropolitan Police.
Very often, just the mere production of the taser, that is enough for that person to say, right, that's enough, I'm going to comply with whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, like I said before, you know, like if you have a gun pointed at you or a taser, you don't have to be shot by it to know that that mofo is going to sting. Like, that's going to hurt, right? Like you said, more times than not, if you just draw it, they're going to comply. I mean, I feel like it's not super common for people just to absolutely fight it, you know what I mean?
This body cam footage shows the moment a murderer was apprehended by a taser-carrying officer, just moments after killing his victim.
Stand still!
Oh!
If you make any threats, I will tase you! Turn around! Turn around!
The officer can be heard warning the suspect he's going to taser him if he makes a run for it.
Put your arms to the rear! Swanson, cuff him! Mate, if you make any threats to myself or colleagues, I will taser you.
But sometimes being armed with a taser isn't enough to prevent an officer from being seriously injured. In Northamptonshire, PC Rob Monk was nearly killed when a man he was trying to arrest stabbed him with a samurai sword. He and Sergeant Gary Little were called to reports of someone vandalising a car with a baseball bat in this.
He almost died from getting stabbed with a samurai sword. That's crazy. So you guys aren't even allowed to have like combat knives over there, right? Are you guys allowed to buy swords and stuff? Or would that be illegal? Or was it just like you could buy them for just a display and stuff, right? I mean, that's crazy.
This quiet residential street.
Even before we went into the property or anything like that, there was just that little feeling in my stomach of unease, which I don't very often feel. There was a samurai sword in the lounge area. It was my concern that at some point he would have the opportunity to pick up that weapon.
It was on display.
Even the attic, and there was nobody at the property.
But a few minutes later, the man returned to the house, so the officers were called back.
I approached the door and began to negotiate with him. The large sword came through the door.
Oh, man.
635, ambulance, officer stab. I just heard Rob scream, a blood-curdling scream.
Wow.
And then Rob fell backwards.
The suspect had stabbed PC Monk in his
and then
left
shut the
leg
door
with a 4-foot-long samurai sword.
Oh,
But
man.
even lying badly injured, he still refused to let go of his taser.
He's on the floor and he's bleeding. He's still pointing that taser at that door. He's still thinking about protecting me whilst I'm trying to protect him.
I was aware that actually I was the only person there who was carrying the taser weapon. I still felt the responsibility to look after my colleagues. Okay, I've been injured, but if I can prevent one of them from becoming injured as well, then that's my job.
Man.
Sergeant Little immediately radioed for help.
281, taken a hit with what is believed to be the samurai sword. We have an ambulance, please.
The sword missed the main artery in PC Monk's leg by just 2 millimeters. Sergeant Little decided there was no time to wait for an ambulance.
2 millimeters. I mean, that's like that, bro. Misses main artery. I mean, I don't know. I think police in UK should, I think every single one of them should get firearm certified. At least have like a shotgun handy. You know what I mean? Like that, what if he died, right? Like, man, that's crazy. If you're a police officer in the UK, or you were, and you watch my channel, man, shout out to you, because that's really tough to do that without, you know, like a real form of protection, I guess you say.
Right, you keep yourself. Guys, what we need to do, we need to get him in the car and we need to grade one into hospital now. Can we lift him, please? My fear was that Rob was going to die. And he was going to die right there in front of me. I could see the punching wound was quite big.
Right. Guys, come down.
Things started to get a bit foggy at that point. I obviously realised I was starting to lose a significant amount of blood. I think remember
tourniquet him.
Saying some of my lines of say goodbye to people.
Rob? Yeah. Stay away. I'm with you. Come on, keep talking to us now. Come on. Come on. Right at the top. Cash around the top.
With PC Monk in danger of bleeding to death, some Velcro straps, normally used to restrain offenders, were used as a makeshift tourniquet.
Good. Smart.
Come on, Rob.
We were all shouting at him to stay awake. We'd got the tourniquet on. Rob had evidently gone into shock. The colour had drained from his face. His body's fighting a catastrophic injury.
Man,
to me, if
come on, get him to the hospital.
He was going to die.
Keep talking to me. Come on, Rob. All right.
He actually turned around to me at one point. He looked directly at me and said, "Gary, chill out. I'm fine."
It's all right, Gary. I'm all right. Gary, just chill. I'm all right.
Which was a bit of a calming influence on me. However, I still had grave concerns that Rob was in very significant medical danger.
I feel like they haven't apprehended the guy yet, though.
Sergeant Little rushed PC Monk straight to A&E in the back of his police car. The suspect was arrested and convicted of grievous bodily harm. PC Monk was lucky to escape with his life.
Well, tell me a sentence, please.
That this will ever happen to you. I was off work for nearly 9 months. There's bits of damage to my leg that kind of hurt on a daily basis, and they almost act as a kind of constant reminder, and certainly life won't ever quite be the same.
I bet you got 4 years.
Coming up, what happened when cops tried to arrest Wales' most wanted man?
He then started shouting, "I've got a gun, I'm going to shoot you."
And the officer who was run over by a man on the run.
Get out of the car!
Man.
As British police come under attack, body-worn cameras are now standard equipment for many frontline officers. In Kent, police were called to reports of a disturbance.
Put the knife down.
How many of you guys are from Kent? Let me know in the comments.
Where they encounter a knife-wielding man.
You got the knives? I ain't gonna come in with the knives, am I?
You got Jamaican flag. Oh! He just threw a dumbbell at him?
He then took aim with a knife, narrowly missing the officer. The body cam footage helped secure a 5-year jail sentence.
Body cam is a really, really good tool to assist police. In a lot of situations, it would often be...
I should have kicked in the door after he threw the dumbbell.
Particularly if you're patrolling on your own.
I would have thrown the dumbbell right back at his door.
Body cam footage captured the moment officers attempted to arrest a man who threatened to shoot one of them. Constables David Hall and Reese Rushby were responding to a report of a vehicle involved in a robbery.
I remember saying to Reese, "So I'll go and look for that." And Reese, bless him, said, "Okay, then I'll come with you, because I know what you're like. You'll get yourself into trouble."
What started as a routine call-out quickly escalated. This CCTV footage shows PC Rushby approaching the vehicle and its driver.
We've seen the vehicle on the forecourt. The registration plate matched up. So we've pulled in and sort of driven in nose to nose with this car.
While PC Rushby talked to the driver, on the passenger side, Constable Hall spotted someone hiding under a sleeping bag on the back seat.
I just remember as I was looking through the back window, I could just see just the outline of a set of eyes in the back of the car. So banged on the window, the windows come down.
He thought it was Scooby-Doo.
He was the most wanted person at the time within North Wales.
Jordan Davidson was wanted for the brutal murder of a 67-year-old man and had been on the run for 5 days. An alert had been sent out to warn officers he could be armed and dangerous.
We'd been told not to approach him under any circumstance. Don't approach him, call for firearms.
But by now, it was too late. Face to face with Wales' most wanted man, they had little option but to attempt an arrest. Another officer arrived and captured the arrest on their body camera.
So, does every single cop not have to wear body cam? Let me know in the comments. Over here in the US, Obama passed like that regulation or whatever. So all police wear body cams.
No, I remember him producing this claw hammer. And I
Which I think it's a really good thing.
Away, and it just hit me there on the back of the neck.
You could have quite easily hit him in the head. So I've used my radio, we've got an emergency button, so I called a code 0.
2958.
As they waited for armed backup, the officers desperately grappled with the man in the back of the car.
Life or death.
Shouting, I've got a gun, I'm going to shoot you. And that was the realisation that, well, there's no point in running, because if he has got a gun, he'll pick us off anyway, so we may as well stay and fight.
Yep.
PC
Go down your shield.
fired his taser at the suspect, but his first attempt had little effect, so he had to reload.
I discharged the taser again. That's had an effect. He's been shouting, all right, I've had enough, I've had enough. I think Reese has managed to get a handcuff on.
With Davidson finally under arrest, PC Hall realised how close he'd come to being seriously injured or killed.
Are you okay? Yeah.
When he's produced that claw hammer, made my whole life flash before me.
It was a hammer?
All your kids and your better half and your parents and where you've been. Yeah.
It's tough, and these dudes...
Davidson pleaded guilty to a string of serious offences, including murder, GBH, and 2 robberies. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 30 years.
Finally, a good sentence.
If it was anything other than luck, we probably would have been seriously injured or dead.
Man, and that's what a lot of people understand. Like, you guys, a lot of people see police officers like as like machines, you know, like just tough and uphold the law, go about their days, but they hold all that trauma in, you know what I mean? Like, they're carrying trauma, you know, all that stuff that people don't really take account of, and like, it's major respect to all police officers throughout the world, you know. It's a crazy job, but it's a really sweet job, and hopefully I could be a police officer one day. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. That's gonna be it for this one. If you guys want part 2, I will probably drop it on my birthday, so let me know if you guys want part 2, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.